Good evening. This is the Administration and Public Works Committee meeting for December. This is our last meeting of the year, and we do have a quorum. And may we have a motion to approve the minutes of November 24th?
Motion to approve minutes.
Second. It's been moved in second. Are there any addition, correction, deletions? Seeing no lights, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Items for consideration. First is A1, which is the City of Evanston's payroll through November 16th, 2014, in the amount of $2,726,063.08. Move to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? City of Evanston's bills December through December 9th, 2014, in the amount of $19,906,477.33, and the credit card activity for periods ending October 31st, 2014 is $142,832.15.
Second.
Any questions? That was the bills list. Everybody received it, get a chance to look at it. Any questions? Seeing no lights, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving right along. Alderman Brathwaite, you're on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move item A 3.1, approval of a contract with A-Lamp Concrete Contractors, Inc. for the Civic Center Sustainable Parking Lot Reconstruction. Our staff is recommending City Council authorize the City Manager to execute a contract awarding the Civic Center Sustainable Parking Lot Reconstruction contract to A-Lamp Contractors in the amount of $1.4 million. And there's also, I guess, a grant coming from MDR in the amount of $7,500 and $6,500 from the parking fund. This is up for action.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Alderman Grover?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This was the item that I believe I held, so this should probably just be at council and not here before the committee. I held for additional information about the Hobby Lobby lawsuit that Ozinga had filed as plaintiffs challenging the contraceptive mandate of the Affordable Care Act. Ozinga's part of this contract is 1%, and it's probably not enough to, I think we would probably have issues if we made a big issue about whether or not to go forward with Ozinga as a subcontractor, but I believe our attorney, Mr. Farr, has additional information about the status of Ozinga's lawsuit anyway.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Grant Farrar Corporation Council. Following direction from the committee and the council, staff did research this issue, and it apparently was that Ozinga in 2013, prior to the Supreme Court's decision in the Hobby Lobby case in 2014, had filed a freedom of exercise, a religion-based component challenge to the Affordable Care Act. That litigation proceeded. In the intervening span of time, the United States Supreme Court delivered the Hobby Lobby decision. So essentially, the Ozinga lawsuit was on all fours with what Hobby Lobby challenged and prevailed in the Supreme Court on. Essentially, simply put, the contraceptive mandate and the issue of that was decided by the Supreme Court. Ozinga's lawsuit is kind of out in a following the Supreme Court's lead. So that case did proceed, and it's governed by the Supreme Court decision entered earlier this year.
So if I may, Madam Chair, it seems to me that Ozinga is no longer actively litigating the case or challenging the Affordable Care Act. The policies and principles of the corporation, although I find them objectionable, I don't think it's sufficient, for me at least, to object to their participation in the contract at 1% of this contract. And I got to say, it's been really gratifying, the emails and the messages that I've gotten from folks, and just raising the question, and thank you for your support on that. And so it's an important issue, and it's maybe not one that we want to duke out on this contract. So I will be supportive of going ahead with this contract, which includes Ozinga for the 1%. Just having raised the issue and having shined a little light on it, maybe that does what I was looking to do.
Okay. All right, Alderman Rainey?
Well, it may only be 1%, but it is one of the reasons why this contract was let, because it is a local business.
That's right.
And so it has higher status than just being 1% of the contract. And I would think maybe since you've raised this point on this issue, that we might, and I'm not sure how we would do this, this isn't one
Yeah, it's
I've
a tricky
handled
one.
before. But I think we ought to maybe spend some time in the Rules Committee giving some thought about issues like this, which we've never really done.
So we'll make a reference for that?
I'll make a reference.
Okay. All right, Alderman Burrs.
Have we heard from Ozinga on this? Have they, have we reached out to them to let them know our displeasure?
I tagged him in a tweet.
They probably don't.
Alderman Burris, I did receive a phone call from Ozinga's general counsel, I believe, Thursday afternoon. I returned the call on Friday. I've been playing phone tag with him, but Ozinga's general counsel did reach out to me. We have not, at this point in time, had a substantive conversation since we've been trading voicemails.
In that conversation, can we get more information about what their policies are now with their employees in such a matter? And it may be, again, I know Alderman Rainey's already made the reference to rules on this one, but maybe with other companies as well, looking at their policies. You meant all
in
companies,
general,
okay. I think that's a great idea.
Maybe Ozinga has, since it filed its lawsuit, come around to the conclusion that certain contraceptives are indeed essential to women's health care as preventative care. Who knows? Maybe they've changed their mind.
Or not.
There's a positive thought.
Well, we'll discuss it at Rules sometime next year.
Great.
Okay. It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Alderman Burrs.
I move A3.2, staff recommends city council authorize the city manager to execute a contract for minor improvements to the Chandler Newberger Center with construction, consulting, and disbursement services in the amount of $88,842.86.
It's been moved and second. All in, I see no lights. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Alderman Rainey.
The next item is 3.3. We're asked to approve and recommend to the council a contract with KLF Enterprises for the 2015 debris and leaf hauling in the amount of $126,000.
It's been moved and second. Seeing no lights. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Madam Chair, I move A3.4, approval of a service agreement with Connolly's Academy for Martial Arts Instruction at the Levy Center.
Second.
Been moved and second. Seeing no lights. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, A3.5, approval of the Sheridan Road, Chicago Avenue, Phase 1 and 2, engineering services contract with Christopher B. Burke Engineering, in the amount of $850,676. Funding is provided by the ITEP grant of $331,924 and $418,752 from the 2015 Capital Improvement Fund, and $100,000 from the Washington National TIF.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Seeing no lights, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Alderman Rathway.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move item 3.5, approval of the Sheridan Road, Chicago Avenue, Phase 1.
We just did that.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
You want 4-1, A4.
Yeah, how about I do 4? Sorry about that. A4.1, the approval of the change order number 1 for Sheridan Road Water Main Improvement Project. Staff recommends City Council authorize the city manager to execute the change order number 1 for engineering services for the main improvements along Sheridan Road in the amount of $358,036.
Seeing no lights, I'm sorry, Alderman Rainey.
Yes. I'd just like some clarification. When one reads a change order like this, one gets a little excited, wondering, well, what was the original bid, et cetera. But this is a little different than a regular change order where we added something or added time or money. this item was actually budgeted in the original project. Is that not true? And we didn't use this service, and now we are using it? Is that, could somebody explain that?
Good evening, Madam Chair, committee members, Dave Stomack, Utilities Director. The original Sheridan Road project did not contemplate replacing the water main. And when that decision was added, the decision was made to replace the water main. The engineering services are being added to the engineering contract that existed for the Sheridan Road project.
It was a request for qualifications in the original bid, or just for the engineering services now for the change order?
No, the request for qualifications that were originally let indicated Christopher Burke to be the best engineering for this specific project, and as such, we added the water main work to it.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
if I may.
I want to know, is this considered really a sole source purchase of services, or is it not? I'm just concerned about the way this reads.
Madam Chair, members of
ahead,
the
Mr. Lyons.
committee, Marty Lyons, Assistant City Manager. I just wanted to answer the first question first, and then I'll go to the second one by noting the sequencing of events. The original contract was approved April 28th. So subsequent to that date, after going through the capital improvements planning process this summer and into the fall, we decided that we needed to do the water main first. So we had already let the first part of the engineering services. So given that, we moved forward with a change order process rather than a bidding of a separate engineering firm to do water main that would then be followed by Christopher B. Burke's work on the actual street itself. And Mr. Stonebeck has been able to review all of the personnel included in the change order, so they're all qualified. The pricing is competitive, so this would be the most expeditious way to move forward with putting the water main first, which is the normal method of doing it. And again, we don't always do water mains when we're doing streets. They last a lot longer than streets. But in this case, once we elected to go forward with the Sheridan Road project, we also noted we needed to do the water main and that it needed to go first. I hope that answers the question. So that's what triggered it into single source.
Seeing no other lights, it's been moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Alderman.
I move A 4.2, staff recommends City Council authorize the city manager to execute change order number 1 for the 2014 manhole lining contract with National Power Rodding Corporation. There will be no change to the original contract amount, which is $133,600.
It's been moved and second. Seeing no lights, all in favor?
Could we just mention why?
Oh, okay, Alderman Rainey?
It's
You
being
want,
delayed because of the temperature.
okay,
This lining usually is installed when it's 40 degrees or more. And we've had a weird winter, right? That's it. It's been
That's
very
the
cold.
Well spoken.
So, I mean, when I saw that this was a delay, I was surprised, because we don't normally use this system to line the water. But anyways, that's why.
okay. All right,
A5?
we need to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a presentation before
Should I introduce it or no? Just wait?
you mean for
A5?
A5?
Yeah.
You can go ahead and introduce
Okay,
it, but then we'll have a
let's just get it out of
presentation.
the way, and then we can answer questions and go ahead. A5 is approval of A5 is approval of Downtown Evanston's 2015 request for budget contribution share. It accounts for $323,000 from the Special Service Area 4, SSA 4, for downtown operations and maintenance, $98,000 from Economic Development Fund for supplemental marketing and economic development activities, and $98,670 equally split between Washington National TIF and Economic Development Fund for additional maintenance contract reimbursements. I move approval.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Coakley.
Great, thank you. Madam Chair and members of the Administration and Public Works Committee, I'm Annie Coakley, the Director of Downtown Evanston, the service provider for SSA number 4 in downtown. I know that we have a tight agenda this evening, so I'm going to keep this pretty brief. But before I start, I'd like to introduce two members of my board. Chris Mailing is the chair and property owner, and Dan Kelch is the board member. Also, Matt Danilo is the marketing and event coordinator on my team. As you're aware, Downtown Evanston requests an annual contract with the City of Evanston to provide special services within the SSA taxing district. This is our formal request for the $98,000 from Economic Development Fund, as well as the $98,670,000 for maintenance reimbursement. The services provided by Downtown Evanston include marketing the district to a local and regional audience, encouraging residents and visitors to experience the shops, entertainment, and restaurants in the district. Marketing is provided by ad placement in papers, online, and radio, as well as 134 street pole banners throughout the downtown. Not to mention social media outlets. Marketing expenses also include the cost to purchase demographic information, print retail attraction collateral, attend International Council of Shopping Center conferences, and host broker tours and events. Downtown Evanston also provides maintenance in the district with 7 times per week garbage removal in 90 receptacles, annual power washing held in the spring, and 4 seasonal plantings and 18 flower pots throughout the downtown, as well as general sidewalk cleanup and planting of 22,600 flowers and bulbs to keep the district attractive and vibrant. Downtown Evanston produces events. The largest event has been its Thursday Let's Dance. This will be the event's 16th year. We are looking to produce more events that will bring more registers through shopping and dining crawls and strolls. A progressive dinner and a wine walk are currently being discussed by our marketing committee. Big Bite Night, the sidewalk sale, and the holiday tree lighting will also take place in 2015, and we hope to improve these events with additional elements to increase the numbers of attendees. As you are aware, because I presented not too long ago, we moved the tree lighting to coincide with Small Business Saturday. We look forward to keeping that permanent date as a Saturday and working with the other commercial districts so that we can all work together on an event. Additionally, in the fall, we are working on a premier event that we hope will be a large profit-sharing opportunity. Downtown Evanston provides maps and brochures. We will continue to provide these maps and brochures, but are currently redesigning them to keep our printing costs down. Downtown Evanston provides holiday decor. Current inventory includes 105 snowflakes, 166 wreaths located on street poles across the district, as well as owning all of the lights on the tree at Fountain Square, and having the contract to have them installed and removed each season. We predict no change in this in 2015 unless there is damage to our current inventory. This is a shameless plug. Downtown Evanston sells the Downtown Evanston gift card. To date in 2014, we have sold 1,217, which represents $47,028 in value, which is kept locally. The Downtown Evanston gift card can be purchased online at downtownevanston.org, as well as in person at 820 Davis, Suite 151 in our office. This slide represents past contributions. I want to thank you for allowing me to provide that snapshot. As mentioned, I'm here to formally request a funding from the city in 2015 that will allow us to continue to provide these special services. In recent years, the levy for SSA 4 has decreased significantly. In 2012, the levy totaled $398,000. In 2015, we expect the levy to come in at $323,000, which represents a $75,000 decrease. The Downtown Evanston request from the city for maintenance reimbursement will remain the same as 2014 at the $9,670,000. The additional funding request for 2015 is $98,000, down from $138,000 in 2014, representing a decrease of 29%. Due to staff transitions, we were able to carry over funds to 2015. I hope to be in a similar situation in 2016, not by losing a staff member, but by actually making money with this fall event and other events that we plan to host throughout the year. However, I cannot guarantee that. So I'm hoping in 2016 the request is also decreased or at the same level. And I hope that we can count on an increase in our SSA levy that currently is the $323,000. Oh, sorry. That concludes my brief presentation tonight, and I'm open to any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did, in attendance-wise, for changing the time for the tree lighting, was there any difference?
So what I have to compare it against is actually photographs, but I have heard from my board members that they thought that it was down a little bit, which I thought was sort of surprising considering it was on a Saturday. I also thought moving the event to a Saturday would allow for a lot of people with young children to be able to come down instead of rushing down on a Friday after work. But it could have been the fact that there was a football game. I don't know exactly. I think that working towards the Saturday change and promoting it heavily again next year with all of the Small Business Saturday, that we'll see an increase. We did get a very interesting email from American Express stating that the Small Business Saturday promotion itself has grown significantly since they started about 4 years ago. So they say about 67% of the U.S. population has heard of and knows what Small Business Saturday is. So I think at some point it's going to be as big as the Black Friday promotions.
Great. Seeing no other lights. Go ahead, Ms. Alderman Burrs.
The random question. How have you been approached by the first night to help fund, and how much?
I have, and I have not decided on what that funding would be, but they mentioned that last year we provided $1,000. So my bookkeeper is actually looking in to see if that is accurate. I'm sure it is. I'm sure that that is probably the exact number, but I want to, make sure and then present that to my executive board.
Great, thank you.
Okay, see no other lights. It's been moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, A6.
Yes.
I move approval of a grant agreement with Youth Organizations Umbrella, YOU, to provide subcontract services for our outreach program. This is for year 2 of the Street Outreach Program grant received by YOU on a year ago, November 18th, sorry. Remains in effect until sometime in September 2015 to be renewed annually upon notification of the grant award. We get the money and share then under the agreement the grant proceeds with YOU.
Second.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
A second.
Been moved in second. I see no lights. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. A7 is approval of the 2015 First Night Evanston funding request, and we have a speaker. Alderman Burrs, do you want to wait till after this?
The speaker can speak.
Okay,
and
great.
then I'll ask questions. Thanks.
I'm here to answer any questions. I'm Stuart Rosenberg, Program Director of First Night Evanston. Last year, we revived First Night Evanston successfully. We operated in 7 venues with about 40 different performances. We attracted a crowd of about 3,000, and things went very well. It was indicated by all the participants that they were happy to have it back and they want to see us again this year. We're attempting to recraft the event somewhat to create a more concise event that speaks more to the values of Evanston, a more eclectic, something that reflects the texture of the community, reflects the diversity of the community, and we are here to seek the support of the council.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Burrs.
Thanks. Just a few questions. I was looking at the budget, and it has corporate foundation donation listed, but doesn't say what corporation or foundation funded the 7,500. And there's also under sponsorships, hotel, restaurant, local businesses, and it has dollar amounts, but doesn't specify where those are coming from.
They're coming almost exclusively from the community. I don't have a list with me. I don't have that information with me right now.
Okay, it's the way the budget is lined up. It says corporate foundation and then 7,500, which, and then the other ones they're all clean numbers, which is usually surprising if you have a variety of different sources giving you funding. It wouldn't be a clean 00 number. And it would be helpful to know which entities, local entities are providing. I mean, obviously, if it's a corporate foundation or a foundation, it's all public knowledge, so you wouldn't be, sharing anything you shouldn't be sharing. So I think that would be really helpful. And so the city's already said they give 1,000 again for this year. Last year, the city gave a substantial amount.
That's correct.
And you made a substantial amount of money last year, over and above, about 30,000 above what you had anticipated making on the event, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So so you're asking for an additional 5,000, which would bring the total amount up to 6,000 for the city, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. The reason for the request is that several of our not-for-profit organizations have asked for free buttons.
Correct.
Would it be possible to do a reimbursement piece so that we get the list of the not-for-profits and the people that want the buttons, and that basically then we would reimburse for the number of buttons that are given out free versus just a $5,000 amount? I'm just looking at it as when I read this, it just seemed odd that at the last minute that all these agencies came forward and said we want free buttons, and then you're in. So, and I'm saying that the event's great. I just how this is structured just doesn't.
Right. I hear in your question some concern
Thanks.
that we made some money last year and that we're asking for more money now. And I want to address that a little bit.
Sure.
One of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to make an event that has a more compelling stature in the creative community, in the metropolitan community at large, and something that we can really build on in Evanston. And so the quality of talent, the amount that we're paying artists is more this year than it was last year. That's where the money is going. Last year we had as you noted, a larger contribution from the city, so it was possible for us to make buttons available to everyone who asked without having to incur additional expenses. Because we spent additional money on talent this year, it makes it a little bit of a stretch, which is the reason that we're coming to the council.
And could you remember, how much is it per button again?
The advanced purchase price per button is $20.
Okay.
And that's an incredible value when you stop to consider the amount of talent that is performing at the event. Just to give you an example, one of our headliners, Regina Carter, who's a jazz violinist, played at the Logan Center at the University of Chicago for a $45 ticket about 3.5 months ago, and played at Symphony Center earlier in the year for up to a $75 ticket. And we have on the order of 30 different performers that night at that one price. So it's really family friendly and community friendly, and that's sort of our touchstone.
So basically it's about 250 people-ish that the 5,000 would pay for from those 6 organizations?
Evanston
right?
Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition, Peer Services, Connections for the Homeless, Youth Job Center, the YWCA Shelter, Center for Independent Futures, and the local Head Start.
Yeah, I guess we give so much money to those organizations already through a variety of city sources, so just a little troubling where it's sort of like double dipping for the organizations. So thank you. I appreciate you coming, and I'm glad that you're doing it. But your your budget's doubled in 1 year, basically from 75 to 142 now,
It's
right?
still a fraction of what it was when the event ceased production.
Right, I'm just clarifying.
But it did cease production.
Thanks.
So
Yes,
that's
but-
not a good argument.
I have two
Thank
lights.
you.
I have Alderman Grover and then Alderman Rainey. And then Alderman Breathwaite.
Thank you. I kind of see the agencies that would be, as just a conduit for getting the passes and buttons to Evanston residents so they can participate in the event. I'm not sure that it's benefiting the agencies themselves, but rather Evanston residents who want to attend, and their connection is simply through these agencies and maybe more agencies. I think I would be interested in supporting First Night for $5,000 for this purpose, and then gathering information at this year's event to find out exactly who's using the buttons and is there a better way for us to reach them. And we'll collect the data from this year's and see how it turns out. And maybe there are better ways, like we do with library cards and beach passes, to get the subsidized passes, the buttons, to the people who will need and use them. And
We would welcome the assistance of the city.
I think that would be interesting. How do we get more people to participate, and how do we make sure the participation is as broad-based as possible? And the agencies are really kind of our outposts in the community to finding people who would benefit from using the.
Yeah, we see the providing of the buttons to the agencies as a means to encourage the support of those communities, not necessarily to simply compensate them for the cost of the buttons. We want to encourage the largest possible audience for the event, and we want to encourage the inclusiveness that comes from including those agencies.
Mm-hmm.
It's not simply about reimbursing for the buttons, although it's helpful.
It helps.
It's about creating the community, I guess.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rosenberg.
Alderman Rainey?
But wait, don't go away. Sorry.
That's who you stay there. I have time for more.
The value of the button is the cost to produce it. It costs you nothing for me to come to First Night, really. I mean, you're providing the activity and the venues, regardless of whether I come or not. The number of people that show up
Yes.
really doesn't affect your costs of putting on. You're hoping for the most people that our streets can handle and that your venues can tolerate. So the cost of the button, giving them to the agencies, is nothing. So why don't we give you a few extra $100 to produce, how many buttons is it that we're giving to the agencies? And just give them to the agencies. I don't see why this, I'm going to vote, if that's the opinion of the council, to support this. But really, all you're really doing is saying, give us $5,000 to support the event. The cost for the folks at these agencies to attend is nothing. It's really nothing. You're looking for
Well-
yes. You're looking for $5,000 in revenue. And I understand that. If you need $5,000 in revenue to support the event, just say so. But the cost of individuals coming from peer service or connections from the homeless is zero. Because are they going to be given free food? You get free food with the buttons?
No.
No. So, I mean, it's their eyes. Their eyes are watching, and they're clapping, and they're dancing, and whatever. But they're not getting anything for free other than being allowed into the event. Nothing.
Well, that makes the assumption that there's no value to the performer's
No,
performance.
there is a value to the performance,
I-
but the value of the performance is charged to you by the performers, whether they show up or not. And my theory is going to be that the buttons that you give to the agencies are probably going to be underused. You know, they're just not going to be used to that great extent. So that's all I'm saying, that really what we should do is give people the buttons for free at the agencies. If you think really people who cannot afford these buttons are going to be given the buttons so that they can attend, so that the fabric of the community can be represented at First Night, I don't have a problem with that. But I don't think the value of the button is $20. That's not the case at all, because whether an additional 200 people show up at the event is not going to cost you a single penny more. That's all I'm saying.
Alderman Brathwaite?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a couple quick comments. First, congratulations on your success. I didn't have a chance to attend last year, but I've attended in the past, so I'm glad to see that you guys are doing it again. Clearly, you can tell by some of the questions there's a little bit of concern over the expenses. I'm not going to get nitpicky tonight just due to time, but I would in January when you come back and do your presentation, I'd be interested to see the final budget numbers on some of these, your first night expenses, along with maybe a list of vendors that you've used.
I would be happy to provide
And the
that.
other thing, of course, is I'm going to encourage you to utilize our local vendors,
Yeah, that's
particularly
what
for your
Imitate.
printing, posters, your design graphics. I don't know who your PR marketing person is going to be, but just to encourage you.
Our main expenditure is talent, and we have a significant representation of local talent at the performance. That's a big part of what we're trying to do. So.
Okay. Shop Evanston.
Alderman Burrs?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm kind of a budget hawk, and
I
have,
thought, given the paltry sum compared to all the other numbers, I thought this was going to slide right through.
no, well, you could be so lucky. No, so concerns about the festival manager at 15,000, and then there's city services are in here of 500,000. I just have real concerns. 500, not 500,000. Different world. Again, I have real issues with both the expenses and actual expenses from last year. And maybe you gave them to us and I didn't see them, but they're not in this packet. And the general corporate and foundation donate, there's just not a lot of detail here. And not saying that you aren't doing good work. I just have real problems with an extra 5,000 when you've already doubled your budget this year. So I'm not going to be able to vote for it because I think some of these costs are a little bit overinflated, and there's just not a lot of detail here, and we have a lot of arts organizations doing work here that are producing much more detailed budgets than this that I vote against. So I have some real trouble here. So good luck with your event.
Thank you.
My little 2 cents worth is that on the local talent, I wonder if you all are encouraging our local folk to volunteer some of that time, for their talents. I know that it's a wonderful evening. Has always been in the past. I didn't go last year either, but I think that we do have a lot of talent that would be willing to volunteer some of their time as well, and that would cut down on some of the costs. And then just one picky piece on the expenses is dues, license, and permits. If those are permits and things from the city, maybe that it's just $200. Maybe that's something that we could consider waiving, huh?
And the city services for the 500, I don't know what
Well, no,
those
but
are, but that
I'm
could.
looking at, we got to pay for city services because that would be the pickup of the garbage and that kind of stuff, and the police and that, I believe.
What are,
Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, good evening. This is one of the city special events enumerated in the Evanston City Code, so there are no permit fees associated with the event. So,
Well, it's this here in the budget.
Yeah.
and it may be in their budget. I think, as Alderman Burris has said, we've been attempting to get a better sense of what First Night needed from the city for about 6 months, and so it's been a little bit difficult. We received the request last week for the $5,000 and felt because it's such an important community event, we wanted to put it before you. But certainly I would hope that in future years we would have an opportunity for a longer opportunity to talk about budgets and things if we're being looked to for funds. If we're not, and it's just a matter of the city services as enumerated in the Evanston City Code, then it's a nonprofit, they can do what they like. But if there's additional resources requested, then we would hope in the future we'd have more time to talk about what those resources might be.
Ms. Ropos, thank you so much, because I'm so glad to know that I wasn't off the mark here in looking at this budget. You had concerns too. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Rainey?
Well, when you put the city fees and permits and things in the budget, that's not, what do they call it?
In kind.
In-kind services. You're actually accounting for dollar expenses?
I
Can you do
didn't
that?
prepare the budget, so I
Are
can't
you the
address that.
executive director of the
No, I'm
agency?
not.
Oh, you're not. What?
That should be an in-kind budget, probably.
Okay,
just that
so
align with it.
maybe all those amounts total $5,000 or something. I don't know. I just think we should have had a better budget. That's what it is.
Well, maybe one
And
of
I
the-
don't even have any problem giving them 5,000. Maybe it'll make it a better thing. I just don't like the idea of the $5,000 being called for free buttons. That's the part I.
Maybe one of the things, I have Alderman Breathwaite's slide, but one of the things maybe we could do is we give them what we gave them last year, and if they have over expenses, we could always.
No, we gave them
No, we don't wanna do that.
10,000 last year.
Yeah, we gave them 10,000 last year.
Let's go with
That's
no on
right.
that
Okay.
one.
Right, no,
Madam
you're
Chair,
right.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Ms. Guthrie and I have been in contact since late summer over their needs for this year's event, and they clearly they wanted additional services from us. I finally needed to get something in writing from Ms. Guthrie prior to this meeting, and it was this letter. The initial conversations with her had no attachment to services. I think she was just looking, I'd asked her for a justification for the request, and I think as the council, I think, has indicated, it's always easier to react to a request that has some justification associated with it. That was a difficult task to get. I received the letter, Ms. Lasik and I, we received the letter on Wednesday last week after discussions began probably in August. So, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I think this is an excellent event. It brings people out. We're talking about livability, certainly having the event on New Year's. So I guess I would encourage the council, if $5,000 makes sense, I would focus on the $5,000. We'll work with the organizers between now and the 31st to make sure that those buttons are made available to nonprofits, that they continue to use Evanston businesses, and encourage Ms. Guthrie and members of her committee for what would that be, 2016, 2015, 2016 New Year's, that we start those discussions a little earlier.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Alderman Breathwaite?
I guess the only thing I would add, Wally, is it possible to get their actual from this year's event?
I'm sure it is, and again, I'm not sure.
It won't make a difference whether or not I support.
Was Ms. Guthrie expected this evening and something came up, or? Something came up.
Professional commitment until 7:30, which is.
Okay, so and this is on the agenda for the council as far as just the general announcement about the event.
That's
So
fine.
I think if we wish to pull it from consent as well, Ms. Guthrie will be here at that point and perhaps be able to speak to it. But I think if $5,000 sounds good, it's a great event. We'll work with them next year, hopefully, if there is an event in a year from now, to firm up some of these issues raised tonight.
Okay. Okay, it has been moved and seconded, I believe. No, we didn't get a second.
Second.
Oh, okay. We need a second. No motion. Okay, well, I move it. Alderman Breathwaite, second. We've had discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye,
Okay,
opposed.
thank you. All right. All right, Alderman Breathwaite, you're on with A8.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move item A8, approval of the 2014 post-bond insurance report. Staff recommends the City Council review and place the 2014 post-bond insurance report on file. It's for action.
All right, seeing no lights, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I move A9. Staff recommends City Council adoption of Resolution 111R-14, authorizing the city manager to negotiate the lease of office space with Latino Resources at the rate of $250 per month for 12 months for 260 square feet of space on the ground floor of the Civic Center.
We have one speaker. Which one is this? 9. Elena, okay.
Thank you. Good evening, council members. My name is Elena Garcia Ansani. I'm the Executive Director of Latino Resources. I'm here tonight to ask you for your consideration in the adoption of Resolution 111R14, authorization of lease agreement with Latino Resources for office space at the Civic Center. Your adoption of this resolution will permit Latino Resources to fulfill its mission, which is to connect Latino members of our community to services, resources, and educational programs that will promote active civic participation. At this time, our organization is poised to move from its virtual office to a physical space that will encourage Latinos, young and old, to become more actively involved within our community. With an office space to call our own, Latino Resources will recruit interns and volunteers to assist in program development of our Club Éxito, Success Club Youth Program, Latino Resources Scholarship Program, the Latino Voter Outreach Initiative, and our Bilingual Network Agency. We believe our working partnerships with the City of Evanston, Evanston Township High School, and the Latina and Latino Studies program at Northwestern University are strong indicators of Latino Resources' ability to work collaboratively and collectively with others to foster positive impact for our community. Therefore, I ask you to consider the following rationale that can be realized by the adoption of this resolution. A Latino Resources office space within our community will set a new precedent for the Evanston Latino community through its promotion of diversity and inclusion principles. A Latino Resources office space within our community will raise awareness among the Latino community that a safe space exists for Latinos who are in need of various forms of information. A Latino Resources office space within our community will provide a space for those Latino families who no longer have students attending District 65 or District 202 schools and desire ways to actively participate within the community at large. A Latino Resources office space within our community will ensure that Latinos in Evanston have a space they can go to for answers Latinos need to successfully navigate within the community. Latino Resources knows that by working collaboratively with others, we create a strengthened community that benefits all of Evanston. Thank you for your kind consideration of Resolution 111R-14. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay. You have, I see no lights. It's been moved and seconded.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We need a second.
Oh, I'll second.
All in favor?
Thank you, City
Any
Council
opposed?
members.
All right. We are now with A10, A10.1 through A10.12. Do we have to do it individually?
No, I'll just
Oh,
do it as a group.
okay, great. That's what I thought.
Madam Chair and Committee, I move that we recommend to the council the resolutions having to do with the city's abatement for 2014 in the total amount of $8,970,382. Therefore, moving resolutions 96R14, A10.1 through A10.12, Resolution 107R14.
It's been moved in second. Seeing no lights, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, I move A11, which is Resolution 94R14 for the Dempster Street Traffic Signal Modernization and Coordination Project Phase 3 construction and construction engineering agreements in the amount of $118,300.
Move approval. Second.
It's been moved in second. Seeing no lights, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, A12, Resolution 95-R-14, Sheridan Road, Forest Avenue Sign Modernization Project at Main Street to Dempster Street in the amount not to exceed $95,933. The city received $475,860 through the North Shore Council of Mayors for this project. It's been moved in second. Seeing no lights, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Leslie, it's you.
Yep.
A13.
I read this sadly, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Many a night spent there. Item 8.3, ordinance 142-0-14, decreasing the number of Class 1 liquor licenses for Here's Wings 2, Evanston LLC, DBA Buffalo Wild Wings at 1741 Maple Avenue. Staff is recommending the adoption of ordinance 142-0-14, which amends the Evanston City Code of the 2012 subsection 3-4-6C1 as amended to decrease the number of authorized Class C1 liquor licenses from 7 to 6. Here's Wings 2, Evanston, again LLC, doing business as Buffalo Wild Wings.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Seeing no lights, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
If we said no, would they have to stay?
Yeah, I was going to say. Somehow. Alderman Rainey?
Madam Chair, since they've already closed, could we just suspend the rules and move action? No point in
I think that's a great
leaving it
idea.
on the agenda for a month.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I asked,
Go ahead, Alderman.
ask you to move A14, ordinance 153-0-14, authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute a commercial lease with Christopher Casas for lease of city-owned real property located at 633 Howard. We've asked for suspension of the rules is requested. Now you can second.
It's been moved in second. Seeing no lights. Oh, I'm sorry. We do have a speaker, Mr. or Chris Cass.
Yeah, I know I butchered your last name, so I apologize. Casas, thank you.
I'm Christopher Casas here. I used to have some coffee bars here in Evanston, 2002 to 2009, and I had several in the North Shore and in downtown Chicago. And now I'm currently co-owner of La Maquina Cafe in downtown Evanston and Coffee Speed Shop, which is, this location is just a big warehouse. There's nothing sexy about the big warehouse where I roast coffee right now, and I currently provide my business models presently for high-end hotels, restaurants, and offices. I supply coffee to on a weekly basis. I have a route that I go and visit them. And what I would like to do at the outpost is have add a retail concept where people can come in and I can do instruction on how to brew coffee. We'll have pastries and we'll have coffee, and we'll be open 7 days a week, and kind of add that the community element to Howard Street, but then have the roasting element as well, like Temperance, where you can go in and see them brew beer. And there's a lot to coffee, and I would like to be able to have the opportunity to talk with the customers in the community about how I roast coffee when I go to Costa Rica or deal with the Guatemalan farmers and cup the coffee and just explain a little bit about coffee. And I think it would be a neat venue to have that opportunity on Howard Street. Do you have any questions?
I have two lights, Well, this is the beginning of what the vision was years ago. And that was, we had to go out and pound the pavement to find people, beg them to come to Howard Street. Chris didn't have to be begged. He really observed the vibe that was going on there and came to us. And if there were a better complement to what is there now, I don't know what it could be, because we have a cocktail lounge where people go before and after they go to Peckish. And now we have a place where people can go during the day. You can't go to these other places during the day. And there is no place, like our information in our packet says, you can go to McDonald's, which, some people love McDonald's coffee, but there's nothing east of Ridge on the Chicago side that you can stop at. And so I can't tell you how welcomed you are and how the community is just thrilled. And the taxpayers ought to be in awe, because I don't know when that building was built, but as we know, it was built as an Orthodox synagogue many, many years ago. And I meant to bring the photograph of what it used to look like. It was blue and white tile. It was lovely. But it has never been on the tax rolls. And so to have a property in a tax increment financing district that has never been on the tax rolls, that is being put on the tax rolls, makes it a 100% increment. And so we're grateful for you, and I believe that anything we can do to make this successful, as we have done with Ward 8 and with Peckish Pig, and we're, hopefully helping others who come along, that's my goal, that this council will fully embrace this, and we're all down on Howard Street all the time anyway, so now we can come down in the morning.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's great.
Yes, this does make it an all-day destination, an all-day destination, not just a great evening destination. I'm assuming we're looking to suspend the rules because we don't meet again until January 12th,
Right.
and it's actually more than a month, and that's critical time for you.
Right.
I think by any measure, our investments in the two buildings now occupied by Peckish Pig and Ward 8 have been wildly successful, beyond what I think they even told us would happen in those spaces. And so you can measure success that way by what those businesses are doing and how they've performed. But the other critical measure, as you suggested, Alderman Rainey, is what has been the repercussions from two successful businesses in this stretch. And one of the positive successes is that you've come to us looking to open a business here, and one that, as you said, so perfectly complements what's already happening on Howard Street. The only other place to get a really good cup of coffee, if you can call it that, is the Starbucks at Western in Chicago and Howard, and it's a nice walk, but there's something about this little hub that we're looking to create that you will be part of, I hope, on Howard Street. So. And can one buy then bulk beans?
Yeah, I currently we sell in 5-pound bags as well as 1-pound bags.
Because my other most recent supplier was Castile Coffee on Central Street, and Castile now is mostly an online business. We've been looking then for a good local roaster for coffee beans in Evanston. It sounds like this is the place.
Yeah, I service a bunch of accounts in Evanston. Office coffee type of accounts, Acquirent is one of them. Motive Quest, Margarita, European Inn. They serve my coffee as well as Kurt's Cafe. They serve my espresso. So I'm really, I live in Evanston. I've been here 15 plus years, and I believe in Evanston. And my roastery is about Evanston businesses. I'm not interested in going into Chicago or moving north. There's enough business, in Evanston, and that's where I'm focusing in quality coffee in Evanston.
Do you have a website right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
coffeespeedsshop.com.
I'm sure that's in the packet. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Alderman Rainey?
Just one other comment. Across the street from this location is going to be a new restaurant also, a lunchtime, I think, and probably supper, but a fast food or quick food, I'm not sure what you call it. The Aguas Tortas guy who's on David, he's on Church. He's on Church now. And this is an expansion. And we tried to get him on our side, but he ended up right across from there. So, I mean, that's a really good thing, too.
Great. We've been moved in second, I think, is that, okay. I see no other lights, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
8:15?
A15. Sorry, I got to put this
It's
on.
reading.
A15. 123-014 authorizes the manager to negotiate and execute a lease agreement for property located at 745 Howard Street for the Evanston Police Department outpost. Madam Chair and committee, I'm requesting that we ask the council to introduce and take action on this tonight.
Okay. It's been moved in second, seeing no lights, I'm sorry, Alderman Rainey?
Well, just needed to say that we are helping out another Evanston property owner by placing the police outpost in the 745 Howard Street building, which is the building commonly known as the Apple II building that did go out of business, sadly. However, for those of you too young to remember, this was the building of the first Howard Street outpost years and years and years ago. And it was two landlords ago, and It was under the auspices of Chief Kaminsky, and the city of Evanston was unceremoniously evicted from that location because we refused to pay the rent because of the roaches. And so just a little bit of history. But now the owner is a great owner, and he's completely renovated the building, and the space is great. So we're going back from whence we came.
Great. Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll
Alderman
defer to
Grubb, will
you to
get the
move
cherry
this
for the
one.
night?
I'll defer to you to move this one in.
Oh, well, thank you. All right. A16, Resolution 113-R-14, authorizing the city manager to negotiate a contract for the purchase of real property located at 1823 Church Street in the amount not to exceed $315,000. And for those who may not know, 1823 Church Street is the former Buku. Okay, it's been moved in second. Seeing no lights, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, now we have for discussion, we have an update on the Emerson Ridge Green Bay intersection project. Is that you?
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I think long-awaited Emerson Ridge Green Bay project, we are here to present an update on the project. So far, what we have done, and we have kind of started this project with several options. I think we are at a point where we have narrowed the options to 3 options. These are the options that we did present at the public meeting on October 29th as well. So we want to present these options and get your input. Just to recall the project goals, to enhance the pedestrian safety and access pretty much has been a major issue, and there are several conflicts with the traffic movements, so we need to reduce the, simplify the travel patterns and kind of streamline the lane usage. And all the signals that are existing are pretty old signals. We need to update the signals. This intersection functions as an individual intersection by itself, all the 3. So we need to pretty much upgrade all the equipments and then try to make this intersection function as one single intersection combining all the 3, so that that would improve the operation and the level of service. And as you know, the viaduct as such, we need to enhance the lighting, improve the way it looks, the aesthetics, and create a gateway to the downtown. As a part of the project, I think we need to also address what is existing on Green Bay and the 4 lanes, what we are, how it is being used and how we can enhance Green Bay and make some improvements to improve the economic development as well as the pedestrian safety and also the transit access, which needs to be addressed along Green Bay. So what we had done to date, in terms of the public meeting, we had gone through on April 2nd, the first public meeting, just to get the input and see how we can improve this intersection. And then we had an advisory committee meeting on May 2nd. And in between May and September, we had about 11 or 12 different options, what we can do at this intersection. And then we have been able to narrow it down to 3. So that was presented at the advisory committee meeting on September 17th, and then the same thing at the public meeting. Once we had the 3 options, what we did was to post these options online to get the input from the residents, what is their preference, what they would prefer. So we went through that exercise, and project website has been updated on a regular basis. The website, it has all the steps, what we have done, the different handouts and the proposals, everything has been on the website for the residents to review and make comments. So existing conditions as such, I started, the traffic signal equipment is outdated, and it's not even current, doesn't meet the current standards. There are about 130 vehicle-to-vehicle conflict points. Very difficult for the pedestrian access and transit access, and pretty much unattractive viaduct, and also inadequate lighting. And the existing streetscape is very minimal, or the green space. So these are the existing conditions that we need to address. Okay, I'm going to jump into the options, what we did develop. So the three options, this is the least preferred options. I want to make sure I mention that first, because as a part of this option, the Green Bay, the traffic from Green Bay, we did suggest this option would, I wouldn't say we did, this option would recommend a cul-de-sac north of Emerson. So the traffic that would come on Green Bay would use Asbury, and then they pretty much would go on Emerson to go on the Ridge, or they go through Emerson. This is a little bit of a kind of a really a wild option-wise, trying to divert the whole traffic. So the impact should be there'll be major changes to the travel pattern. And then Green Bay traffic will use Asbury, because then once they go on Asbury, they may pretty much continue on Asbury and not go left on Emerson. And there has to be a restriction at the intersection of Asbury and Emerson, because this intersection would not function without that. So there will be restriction for the westbound traffic on Emerson going to southbound Asbury as well. There will be 16 parking spaces last. That's indicated pretty much along Asbury Avenue and Emerson as well. This does improve the level of service from D to B and reduces the conflict points. The real advantage is this would increase the streetscape area, a lot of streetscape area, the way we are doing, and then parking along Green Bay. This does improve the pedestrian crossing to cross Green Bay, because you pretty much have, there is no street existing, so this would improve the pedestrian crossing. We had about 480 survey respondents. Only 18% did prefer this option. So there was not a whole lot of support for this option. So the next option, we thought we'll go somewhere in between, trying to still, instead of the completely closing Green Bay, I mean, providing a cul-de-sac, we will go ahead with, the southbound traffic will still use the Asbury, and then the northbound would use Green Bay. So at the Asbury and Green Bay intersection, the traffic the southbound would get on to Asbury, and then there'll be no southbound traffic in section of Green Bay between Asbury and Emerson. So this also has parking lots, and then this does improve the level of service as well and reduces conflict points significantly as well, increases the streetscape area. And this does improve the pedestrian crossing, because the pedestrian crossing has to just cross one lane of traffic. About only 24% of the survey respondents supported this option. The third option, which has the most support, is a 3-lane cross-section. When I go to the next slide, I will come back again. In this option, we are recommending that Green Bay would have one lane each way. At Emerson, it's a 3-lane cross-section with a left turn lane on Green Bay in both north and south of Emerson, to get the vehicles, the through vehicles, separate the through vehicles from the turning vehicles. This has parking lots of only 4, and we do gain there is parking, we do gain along Green Bay, because we are reducing the number of lanes, and conflict points are reduced as well. The level of service which is A is the best and F is the fail, would go from D to B, improves significantly. I just wanted to let you know one point. This level of service is based on all these 5 intersections. So all these 5 intersections will function as one. We are going to have a master controller that would control. Each of these intersections will have its own controllers, but there will be a master controller, because once there is a green here, that would the vehicle leaves Asbury and Green Bay, comes south. Goes through on Green Bay South, and then this will be green. So the traffic will get through by combining all those intersections together and to function as one single intersection. That is going to be the biggest advantage when we combine their operations into a one fold. This does also improve the streetscape area and provides parking around Green Bay, and adding, as I mentioned, a left turn on Green Bay, south and north of Emerson. About 62% of the survey respondents did prefer this option. Let me go to the next slide, and then I will come back to this. The reason this third option is pretty much appealing is, right now, Green Bay has so much of the lanes of the pavement. For the traffic, what is on Green Bay, about 15,500 vehicles. A 3-lane cross-section means 1 lane each way with a turn lane is sufficient by the industry standards. So we have, right now we have 4 lanes on Green Bay, which is not really required. So our consultants have done the analysis considering noise and Simpson, Asbury, and all these intersections. So if we upgrade the signals and combine them, coordinate all the signals, then 3-lane cross-section would function at a good level of service, and we will have a lot of space on both on the west side as well as the east side to kind of make improvements. So the benefits of providing a 3-lane cross-section, we can add a lot of green space in the streetscape area, provides bus pullout areas for better visibility. Right now, the people who would stand either at Simpson or Noyes, they have to actually bend down to see whether the bus is coming. What we are recommending is both at Simpson as well as Noyes. The bus would be a far side stop, means the bus stop would be, there is a separate pullout area for the buses after they cross the intersection. The buses would pull out, and there will be an area for the pedestrian, safe area for the pedestrian to stand and wait for the bus, and the through traffic would go through. So the buses will be off the through lanes, and the traffic should be able to move along the Green Bay without any issues or the concerns, at the same time providing a good transit access. So when we go ahead with this cross section, we can provide safer for the vehicles, because we have 1 lane, it's all defined lanes. And pretty much once we coordinate the signals, the traffic will get through much easier. We can provide nice wider sidewalks on the west side, and also we can provide a parkway, a little bit of the parkway on the west side as well. It's kind of green up the whole corridor and changes the way it is. So we pretty much had a very good support for this option. I don't recall that really there was any concerns expressed for this Green Bay options. But 64% of the survey respondents did prefer this option. So going back to tie this in with the 3-lane cross-section, so after the McCormick, the bridge, if we go ahead and update the signals at Noyes and Simpson, Green Bay, Emerson, and coordinate them, so the traffic is going to get through. There is a lot of green space, wider sidewalks. It's a huge boost for this corridor as well as this intersection. These are the survey results. What we did was we had a scale of 1 to 10 for give people an option to rate these options. So the 6 to 10 is pretty much 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. So as you can see here, that the option which is the cul-de-sac option on the one-way northbound, did not get a whole lot of support, but most of the support was for the Green Bay as well as the 3-lane cross-section.
Alderman Reynolds?
Would those have been your choice also?
We went through and we had about 11 or 12 different options. So finally, this were really, we were going beyond. We were out of the box in different ways, how to improve this intersection. But we felt that these three were more realistic and could be constructed. And then if you were asked my opinion, my personal opinion would be a 3-lane cross-section.
That's what I was wondering, if that would have been your choice as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Our residents are so smart.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's going to be such an improvement, especially with the bus. I'm sorry, it's going to be such an improvement, especially for the buses, because if you ever, even just here at Simpson and Green Bay, if there's more than 3 people, they have to stand in the street. I mean, there's no place to stand and wait for the bus. So I think that it's the best choice. Alderman Grover, you had your light. I'm sorry.
Said I was confused looking at the picture of the 3-way cross-section. Will there be a cul-de-sac there? No, okay.
No.
I'm not
See,
sure.
the 3-lane cross-section means the Green Bay will have 1 lane southbound,
okay.
1 lane north,
So-
and there will be a left turn
So it's
lane.
the same traffic pattern. I just couldn't tell looking at the picture.
Yeah, it's the same
what we're
traffic
looking at.
pattern,
So
yes.
same traffic patterns, just reduced a lane. I think we'll have a little bit of a learning curve for the community to understand why we don't need all those lanes of traffic, that the standards don't require or even recommend as many lanes of traffic as we have right now moving through that intersection and then up to Lincoln.
Well, I think the education piece will be having the residents understand that once the lights are synced,
It changes
and the
everything.
traffic will flow.
Yeah.
That's the problem now.
Right. And a kind of a companion project is the Central Green Bay project. And what we do here will have all kinds of positive repercussions for what happens north with the flow of traffic and pedestrians.
Right
And
from
so-
McCormick North.
Right. So I want to make sure that we coordinate.
Sure,
as-
absolutely. Yeah, and also just wanted to mention a couple of more things.
Well, we're over time, so can you?
Yeah, I'm
speed
sorry
up?
to.
We're past time, so.
Okay, now then I have to still go through the viaducts. I just wanted to give you the viaduct options, what we have done. I'm going to try to go through the existing viaduct. I'm going to skip this. You all know the existing viaduct. So what we did is we did present 3 different options to improve the viaduct. When you say viaduct, there are 4 different improvements that we need to do. One is the face of the viaduct, and another the walls, the abutment walls, and then we have the area underneath the viaduct as well, underneath the viaduct and on the ground. So there are 4 different improvements that has to be done to improve a viaduct. So this is then option 1, which is pretty much, like a showcase, highlight the art deco of the bridge design, highlight it, and then have some lighting here underneath the bridge, as well as some different design at the floor level. This is one option. Option 2 is pretty much basically, you can, any art, any kind of an art could be implemented, like a public art based on the location of the viaduct. There are several viaducts, and in the following slides, I just wanted to let you know what we are planning to do. And this is the option 3. Can we have the hanging gardens on the viaduct? Because surprisingly, a lot of the people did select this option. The problem is how to maintain.
What does it look like in the winter?
That's what those are the options. In the winter months, it's very hard to maintain. So there's a big maintenance work on that. But the point is having the abutment walls, with kind of a murals in the tiles would easy to clean and easy to maintain. What we are suggesting for the viaduct is this issue has to be addressed on a city-wide basis. So we had a meeting with Haggerty Associates, with the city staff, and from the Evanston Art Council. What we are recommending is to set up a steering committee so that there are some basic guidelines of the design standards set up for the viaducts. And then based on that could be tweaked for each location or each area. So hopefully if we go through that during the winter months and then hold a public hearing, and this Emerson Ridge Green Bay can be the pilot project, what we do and how we do it. So there is enough time. And in the next steps is once we have an option approved by the city council, we need to go to IDOT to get the Phase 1 design approval, and then finish up the construction plans, IDOT letting in March 2016, and construction in summer of 2016.
All the lights. Thank you very much.
Thank
you. For the update. All right. That concludes our agenda. Can we have a motion for adjournment? And I believe that planning and development will start in about 10 minutes because we're over.